Think like an economist. Welcome to Fresh Thinking University Masterclasses, where we curate the best content and wisdom from the wisest people who have ever lived. We create and curate knowledge that can inspire you to become the very best person you were born to be, to accomplish and make a difference in the world. Economics is the study of how, where, and why money and resources are produced, spent, and allocated by government and businesses, and how this helps and affects the lives of individuals. There are four drivers of change in any sector: governance, demography, technology, and services. At its most basic, thinking like an economist means evaluating the facts without allowing opinion or logical fallacies to enter into the calculation. Economic theory is fundamentally about scarcity, the idea that everyone, individuals, corporations, and governments, only have limited resources and must decide how and where those resources will be allocated. Economists evaluate the cost of individual and social choices to determine the best choices for themselves or others in the face of this scarcity. What it takes to think like an economist. Thinking like an economist can seem like a skill limited to solving problems in the marketplace. Still, this type of thinking can be applied in many areas outside economics. Thinking like an economist can help avoid irrational decision making, can help professionals in improving the decisions that affect their lives, and help you better understand the world around you. Once you learn to think like an economist, you will see how virtually all decisions, from something as small as where to go to dinner, to whether to begin a new career or go back to school for a master's degree, become more apparent. Learn how to think like an economist. Learning to think like an economist can add significant value to your life and make confusing or difficult decisions easier. One way to learn economic thinking is to enroll in a master's degree program that teaches you economic thinking and how to apply it in everyday life. There are many top universities, top ranked in person and online masters in economics, teaching students how to apply economic theories and principles to solve real world problems. What it takes to think like an economist. Thinking like an economist can help avoid irrational decision making, can help professionals in improving their decisions that affect their lives, and help you better understand the world around you. What does it mean to think as an economist? Well, everyone, individuals, corporations, and governments only have limited resources and must decide how and where those resources will be allocated. Economists evaluate the cost of individual and social choices to determine the best choices for themselves and others in the face of this scarcity. Assembling an intellectual toolkit similar to that of the economist can help you make smarter decisions in your professional and personal life. Three basic concepts from the foundation of economic thinking. The first one is the cost of something is what you give up. Number two, incurred costs cannot be recovered. Number three, people respond to incentives. Let's start with the first one. The cost of something is what you give up. Opportunity cost is a fundamental economic theory and one of the most important to understand if you want to think more like an economist. Opportunity cost teaches that nothing in life is free, even if it doesn't cost money. Understanding opportunity cost can help those who want to think like an economist to decide, for example, if going to graduate school is worth the cost, if getting a master's degree is something you consider. Think like an economist and weigh the costs and benefits of that decision. Some of the opportunity costs of obtaining a master's degree may be less time to spend on hobbies or leaving the workforce for a couple of years. Compare those opportunity costs to the benefits of having a master's degree to make a rational economist like decision. The second one is incurred costs cannot be recovered. Well, sunk cost is one of the most pervasive fallacies that an economist's mindset can help you overcome. Simply stated, a sunk cost is any cost that has already been incurred and therefore cannot be recovered regardless of future outcomes. Think of this example. You buy a ticket to a movie and settling only to realize that the movie is terrible halfway through. What do? Most people will see it through to the end, thinking their money will have been wasted if they leave. But if you think like an economist, you know sunk costs are already gone. Furthermore, you now understand the opportunity cost of giving up more valuable time watching a movie you don't enjoy. The sunk cost bias is often talked about by economists as throwing good money after bad. But it is important to remember that it isn't just about money. Any type of investment you make, money, time, effort, is subject to this type of thinking. Number three, people respond to incentives. The fundamental law of economists often emphasizes that incentives matter. The basic law of behavior is that higher incentives will lead to more effort and higher behavior. Is that higher incentives will lead to more effort and higher performance. Employers, for example, often use extrinsic incentives to perform. Therefore, an incentive can influence different individuals in different ways. Responses to incentives and predictability because people may usually pursue their own self-interest. Changes in incentives cause people to change their behavior in predictable ways. For example, incentives can be monetary or non-monetary. Economists often emphasize that incentives do matter. The fundamental law, the law of economists, often emphasizes that incentives matter. The basic law of behavior is that higher incentives will lead to more effort and higher behavior is that higher incentives will lead to more effort and higher performance. Employers, for example, often use extrinsic incentives to perform. The incentive theory plays out in daily life all the time. So evaluating how you respond to incentives in the world and thinking about how other people respond to the incentives you offer is essential to thinking like an economist. Learn how to think like an economist. What does that mean? Well, learning to think like an economist can add significant value to your life. It can make confusing or difficult decisions easier. One way to learn economic thinking is to enroll in a master's program that teaches you economic thinking and how to apply it in everyday life. American universities' top ranked online masters in economists, for example, teaches students to apply economic theories and principles to solve real world problems. Three ways to think like an economist starting today. Some concepts can help you the next time you make a choice, big or small. Sunk cost, opportunity cost, and then marginal decision making. Let's start with the first one. Beware the sunk cost fallacy. In economics and finance, a sunk cost is a cost that has already been incurred and cannot be recovered. In economic decision making, sunk costs are treated as outdated and are not considered when deciding whether to continue an investment project. Related topics: cost. A sunk cost has already been incurred and cannot be recovered. In business, this could be pumping money into R&D for a new product or hiring a consultant for a study. Maybe these benefits your firm by yielding more profitability. Well, that would be awesome. But say they don't. So, for example, suppose the product isn't viable or the study isn't practical. In that case, it's not logical to keep dumping more money and effort in those sunk costs. Bottom line, the next time you are spending money to repair an old car or letting unworn clothes occupy valuable space in your closet, recognize that you can't recover a sunk cost. Continuing to allocate time, money, or effort towards something going nowhere fast is not worth it. Consider opportunity cost, the value of the next best alternative. In microeconomic theory, the opportunity cost of a particular activity option is the loss of value or benefit incurred by engaging in that activity relative to engaging in an alternative activity offering a higher return in value or benefit. Opportunity costs represent the potential benefits that an individual, investor, or business misses when choosing one alternative over another. Because opportunity costs are unseen by definition, they can be easily overlooked. Understanding the potential missed opportunities when a business or individual chooses one investment over another allows for better decision making. For example, when economists refer to the opportunity cost of a resource, they mean the value of the next highest valued alternative use of that resource. If, for example, you spend time and money going to a movie, you cannot spend that time at home reading a book, and you can't spend the money on something else. Opportunity cost describes the value of the next best alternative. In the case of lunch, we are evaluating your personally limited resources of time. There is no such thing as a free lunch, as the concept of opportunity cost makes clear. The phrase is a famous adage communicating the idea that it is impossible to get something for nothing. To get one thing that we like, we usually have to give up another thing. Making decisions requires trading off one goal against another. The idea that there is no free lunch at the societal level applies only when all resources are being used alternatively and approximately when economic efficiency prevails. So, economics tells us there are limited resources to produce goods and services in a world of unlimited ones. Every day, we all grapple with scarcity. Globally, here are some of the top 4 universities offering economics degree programs. University of Oxford in the UK. Well, Oxford is the oldest university in the English speaking world and lays claim to 9 centuries of continuous existence. As an internationally renowned center for teaching and research, Oxford University attracts students and scholars from across the globe, with almost a quarter of the students from overseas. The next institution is MIT in the US, founded to accelerate the nation's industrial revolution. MIT is profoundly American. The graduates have invented fundamental technologies with ingenuity and drive, launched new industries, and created millions of jobs in the US. At the same time, and without the slightest sense of contradiction, MIT is profoundly global. As a result, the community gains tremendous strength as a magnet for talent worldwide. Through tight teaching, research, and innovation, MIT's exceptional community pursues its service mission to the nation, which is the US and also the world. The next university is Harvard University in the US. Harvard University is a private Ivy League research university in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It was founded in 1636 as Harvard College and named for its found benefactor, the Puritan clergyman John Harvard. Harvard University is the oldest institution of higher learning in the US and among the most prestigious institutions. Another institution is London School of Economics in the UK, hosting one of the largest economics departments in the world, the London School of Economics and Political Science, and is ranked the first in the UK and fifth throughout the world in terms of economics. A truly international experience, LSE student body is 71% international. The campus is located in the heart of the metropolitan city of this highly diverse capital, ensuring a unique international experience. Now, what are some of the leading economists locally and internationally? Well, Joseph Stiglitz is an American economist, a public policy analyst, and a full professor at Columbia University. He is a recipient of the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics, Science, and the John Bates Clark Medal. What was Joseph Stiglitz's theory? Well, he studied risk aversion, how it helped define how individuals decide and spend money. According to him, when uncertainty exists in a situation, economic consequences depend on whether one course of action is riskier than another, or if one individual is more risk averse than another. Andre Slaver at the Department of Economics at Harvard is another example. He has been rated as a #1 economist. He was born in 1961, of Russian origin, living in the in the US, and he's an economics professor at Harvard. He was awarded several awards over the years. Now, the corporate finance, corporate governance, and law finance, the economics of financial markets, the economics of transition. He is rated as #1 globally, and he's also cited as the most cited scientist in economics and business. He served as project director at Harvard Institute for International Development's Russia and aid project from its inauguration in 1992 until 1997. He studied mathematics, obtaining his BA from Harvard in 1982. Following this, he went to graduate school in economics, acquiring his PhD from MIT in 1986. During his undergraduate education at Harvard, he met his mentor and professor, Lawrence Summers. The two went on to be co-authors and joint grant recipients and faculty colleagues. He has held a number of tenured positions as an economist at Harvard and elsewhere as well. Previously, Schaefer taught at Graduate School of Business at the University of Chicago, briefly at Princeton University as well. Who are some of the top African economists? That's a very good question. Who are they? Well, Dambisa Moyo from Zambia and David Ndii from Kenya are the only two African economists who have been ranked amongst the top 100 most influential economists globally. Governor Leseja Kganyago is a South African economist and central banker. He is the governor of the South African Reserve Bank, a noted economist. Dambisa Moyo was appointed to that post in 2014. Governor Kganyago assumed the governorship of the South African Reserve Bank on November 9th, 2014, following the expiry of the term of his predecessor, Jill Marcus, on November 8, 2014. IMF chairman of the International Monetary and Financial Committee, Leseja is also a member of several professional associations. Financial Stability Board member of the Regional Consultative Group of Sub-Saharan Africa, Association of African Central Bankers, chairman, Southern African Community, and chair of the Committee of the Central Bank Governors. Well, what other selected female South African economists? Very good question. Who are they? Over the past decade, many women economists have emerged to lead and demonstrate their brilliance, like Rebecca Henderson, a management and strategy professor at Harvard Business School and author of the new several South African women have taken up careers in economics. They include Trudy Makaya, President Cyril Ramaphosa's new economic advisor. Others include Professor Ingrid Hollard, who is the first woman to lead Stellenbosch University's Economic and Management Sciences faculty. The University of Pretoria also boasts of a female professor and dean of the Economic and Management Sciences faculty, Professor Elsabi Lutz. She also serves on the International Advisory Board of the Association of the Advancement of African Women Economists. Other prominent economists or economics graduates include Maria Ramos, ABSA's former CEO, Professor Nicole Natras, economics professor and director of the AIDS and Society Research Unit in the Center for Social Science Research at the University of Cape Town. Dr. Miriam Altman is an economist and social activist who is currently on secondment to the National Planning Commission. Others include Professor Vilma Viviers, Professor of International Trade, Director of Trade Research Focus Area, and NRF rated researcher at the Northwest University, and Professor Rachel Jafta, co-founder and director and chairperson of Economist and professor in economics at the University of Stellenbosch. Another influential woman in economics is Fundi Chazibana, a deputy governor of the SARB, the CEO of the Prudential Authority, and a member of the Monetary Policy Committee. Before the rotation of the deputy governors on the 1st of April 2022, Fundi oversaw the financial markets and international cluster. She is an economist with extensive experience in public policy formulation and also analysis. Chazibana has worked at multiple local and international institutions, including the National Treasury, the National Energy Regulator of South Africa, NESA, and the International Monetary Fund, IMF. She holds a Bachelor of Economics honors degree and a Master's of Commerce degree in Economics from the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Few economists become household names. Last century, it was John Maynard Keynes or Milton Friedman. Today, Thomas Piketty has become the economist's poster boy. Yet, listen to the buzz, and 5 female economists deserve our attention. They are also revolutionizing their field by questioning the meaning of everything from value and debt to growth and GDP. So, why is economics important to society? Good question. For most people, economics is all about money and finance and issues of supply and demand. While these are important elements, economics is about much more. Economics provides a framework for understanding the actions and decisions of individuals, businesses, and governments. It provides a means to understand interactions in a market-driven society and for analyzing government policies that affect the families, jobs, and lives of citizens. For society, economics provide a scientific approach to analyzing and understanding government decisions to ensure stable economic growth with low inflation and the highest possible level of employment. Economics can be a great career choice because it studies how people make decisions. It is an endlessly fascinating topic, which is why economics degrees are so popular. Once you graduate, you can work as a business manager, marketing consultant, financial consultant, auditor, stockbroker, insurer, retail merchandiser, pricing analyst, statistician, financial consultant, or salesperson. For most people, economics is all about money and finance and issues of supply and demand. While these are essential elements, economics is about much more. Economics provides a framework for understanding individuals, businesses, and governments' actions and decisions. Can economics help us understand the world? Very good question. When economists try to explain the world, they function as scientists. When they try to improve the world, they are policy advisors. The economicshelps.org website observes that economists evolves and may help provide answers for dealing with policy issues that affect their future. For society, economics provides a scientific approach to analyzing and understanding government decisions to ensure stable economic growth with low inflation and the highest possible level of employment. What do economists tell society about itself? Good question. Economists tell society about itself. It is important to note that economics is a subject to significant specialization. Metrics and indices are created to track specific niches of economic phenomena. For example, reporting some indices over others can create large amount of confusion. For example, suppose global development is to be governed by spiritual principles. In that case, the role it assigns to the generation and application of knowledge must be re-evaluated, whether cogently defined or hidden in implicit assumptions. Materialism has little choice but to place economic activity at the center of human existence. In one way or another, all other processes of social life end up subordinate to economic activity, deriving the more significant part of their significance from the contributions they made to material comfort and wealth. Specifically, knowledge, often confused with information, acquires much of its value from these for its enormous potential to drive economic progress. An alternative claim is that a worldwide view, aware of the spiritual dimensions of consciousness, will regard the generation and application of knowledge as the central process of social existence. Clearly, creating wealth and just distributing will continue to be indispensable. But economic activity will not be seen as an end in itself any longer, beyond attention to survival needs. Economics will concern itself with the multiplication of means through which humanity will pursue goals of a higher purpose. How many economist graduates per year globally? Well, throughout history, several economists have contributed greatly to the field of economics. And in such better that changed our society. Adam Smith was the political economist, for example, during the Scottish Enlightenment, best known as the theory of moral sentiments and the wealth of nations. David Ricardo, a member of the British Parliament and economist, argued that nations should specialize for their greater good. John Maynard Keynes, or the giant economist, favored government spending and monetary policy to mitigate the adverse effects of major economic shifts. Abhijit Banerjee and Esther Duflo pioneered an experimental approach to developmental economics, allowing a precise evaluation of specific policies. What is the proportion of men and women economists? In South Africa, the proportion of female economists is 30 with the majority being male economists. Significant effort is required to ensure gender parity. Saudi Arabia has the worst proportion in terms of gender parity in economics, with 6.8 women being economists. The proportion of women who are economists in the US is below 30% in all states of the US. What is the role of technology in economics? Well, technological progress is essential to economic growth and development. And the more advanced the technology available, the more quickly the local and global economy can improve. Better technology has led to further research into nearly every sector of business science, meaning businesses can benefit from all sorts of technological advances and advancements. Information technology is the single most important element in the success and growth of international trade and job market growth, allowing businesses to share information and conduct trade in less time than the blink of an eye. That is right. What it takes to think like an economist? Well, many students choose an economics degree because of its versatility. It is a degree that easily translates into dozens of career paths. Although most top universities offer economics degree, their offerings are not always the same. With so many options, it can be difficult to know which economics program is best for you. Thinking like an economist can seem like a skill limited to solving problems in the marketplace, but this type of thinking can be applied in many areas outside economics. Thinking like an economist can help avoid irrational decision making, can aid professionals in improving the decisions that affect their lives, and help you better understand the world around you. Once you learn to think like an economist, you will see how virtually all decisions, from something as small as where to go to dinner to where to begin a new career or go back to school for a master's degree, become more apparent. As a leader aspiring to think like an economist, what are the three key lessons you learn from this masterclass? How can you apply the lessons to improve the quality of your life? What are the three specific actions you plan to take in the next 24 hours? I'm glad we journeyed together during this masterclass. We appreciate you coming over, and we promise that only the very best content ever will be put on this platform to continue your journey with fresh thinking university masterclasses. Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube platform. Let us know what inspires you and how best we can serve you on this platform. Hit the subscribe button and be the first person to get new content from this platform. Remember to keep thinking like the economist. We pause here for now. Signing off, yours, Dr. Masasekani Mishak Kosa, the thinking futurist. Thank you.